Okay, we're live. Hi, everybody. Chuck Holton here, coming to you from Armenia, where we are having a great time on our tour with a bunch of our Hot Zone viewers who came along with me. Everybody say hi. This is our first Hot Zone before a live studio audience. There's all kinds of things going on in Israel today and big news, some big stuff happening. So let's get right into it. The first thing I want to start with is the most important one, and that is the topic of the live tonight. Right now, Israel is starting what we call in the military shaping operations for an upcoming invasion into Lebanon. They have already set the stage. They have set the stage diplomatically, set the stage legally inside Israel. They have updated their war objectives to include returning people to their homes in the north. The War Cabinet has authorized Benjamin Netanyahu to give the go-ahead to the IDF without having to come back for further permission. They are shaping the battlefield by what we saw over the last several days. The Mossad causing electronic devices to do their best impression of a firework. The Grim Beeper operation has been very successful. All of these electronic devices that have been spontaneously combusting inside Lebanon have made it so that everybody in Lebanon is absolutely terrified of what might happen if they step on a scale, use their toaster, open their refrigerator, get in their car. Can you imagine if you own a Tesla in Lebanon right now, just going into spontaneous rapid disassembly? They were having barbecues spontaneously out of everything from blenders, the door locks like on the hotel room door. Those things were going off. Solar panels were going off, all kinds of stuff. And if you read the New York Times article about this operation, it appears that the Mossad has been planning this operation for more than 15 years. They've been salting these devices that were booby-trapped into the society in Lebanon. The idea was to activate them in the case of the breakout of a all-out war with Lebanon. And I've been doing some reading about them. I want to talk more about something called the Dahia Doctrine. They had all of these things in place, and they had been putting them in place for many years. Throughout their history, the Mossad has been known for taking everyday devices and making them go boom. That's the sound of freedom in Mossad speak. They've used office chairs, they've used cars, they've used bicycles, they've used telephone handsets, they've used desks. Before the digital age, before hacking and cyber warfare, they had been making a habit of making everyday items erupt in flame over there in Lebanon, but never on this scale. According to some of the information that's now coming out, the official head count of people who have actually met their maker because of these devices going off was like in the mid-30s. Again, 2 waves of these that have gone off and something like 3,000 plus that were wounded. But there was a leaked document from Hezbollah in Arabic that hints the actual death toll could be something like 900 people from this. Hassan Nasrallah said that he was going to give a speech today about this. When he gave his speech, there were IAF airplanes in the sky doing low passes over the spot, breaking the sound barrier, setting off flares, and basically causing chaos and confusion and fear. As I have said in the last couple of days, if the IDF does not take advantage of this chaos, Hezbollah is in total disarray. They're resorting to smoke signals and carrier pigeons to communicate with each other, and that is going to desperately slow down Hezbollah's response. Hassan Nasrallah came out and said, this is a declaration of war. This has crossed all red lines, and we will respond in kind. Good luck with that. All of this has caused the United States to put out a statement today urging all American citizens to leave the state of Lebanon post haste. To which I say, thank you very much, Captain Obvious. Like we really needed the embassy to tell us it's time to leave at this point. Not only are they saying that, but the UK is getting all their citizens out. This is the epitome of asymmetric warfare. Asymmetric warfare being warfare by other means rather than sending in tanks and troops. But the tanks and troops are on their way. The IDF put out today, Yoav Gallant made a statement that the primary focus of the war now has shifted as of today from Gaza. They are moving lots of armor into place. There are some unconfirmed reports of cross-border skirmishes happening between Lebanon and Israel now. That would be the precursor to tanks rolling across the border. According to reports, the War Cabinet has said that they believe it will require a buffer zone to be established inside Lebanon and held in perpetuity by IDF troops to make it safe enough for people to return to their homes in the north. Now, to add insult to injury, Hezbollah decided to respond last night with a very large volley of tubular complaints, let's say, into Israel. And Israel apparently they've still got people on the inside of Hezbollah. IAF aircraft came in and smoked those guys and took out another 100 or so tubes. They've sent those up in smoke as well. They are rapidly degrading Hezbollah's ability to prosecute violence against Israel. And that's exactly what they want to do in advance of a movement into the country. Now, let's talk about some more breaking news out of Israel. The Shin Bet has arrested a 73-year-old Israeli man for getting smuggled into Iran to meet with members of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, and they paid him money to try to help advance a scheme to take out Benjamin Netanyahu and some of the other leaders of the Israeli government. This guy was 73 years old. He's an Israeli citizen from Ashkelon, and he was a businessman that traveled to Turkey a lot. He was apparently approached by somebody who introduced him to some Iranian guys. Long story short, they groomed him and ended up trying to hire him to pass along weapons and money to other operatives that Iran already has inside Israel. That's not very exciting. To help advance one of these plots to introduce Benjamin Netanyahu to the afterlife. This guy's in big trouble. He's saying, I'm so glad that you caught me because I really didn't want to do this. And he's fully cooperating with the Shin Bet. His lawyer is saying he made a bad business decision. That's the understatement of the year, a bad business decision that is going to cost him probably prison for the rest of his life as a traitor. He says that he wouldn't have done it unless Iran agreed to give him $1 million up front. Like that makes it better. It's like, no, that's not good. You straight to jail. You go to jail right now. So the other thing that tells us is that Iran is actively seeking people inside Israel to commit shenanigans against the IDF and the Israeli government. As a matter of fact, it goes along with another Shin Bet case that they picked up the other day, that apparently the Shin Bet has uncovered plots by Iran creating fake profiles on social media, and they usually featured some buxom female IDF soldier who was trying to befriend people and then get them to do things that would lead them to compromising situations. That's how this works. You get them to compromise on something little, and then you hold that over their head and say, we wouldn't want the government to find out that you did that. And so now you have to do something even worse. And that's how they pull people into these things. Iran is very actively trying to recruit people, not just to take out members of the government, but to take out Israeli citizens who are traveling overseas. So if you're an Israeli citizen, vacationing in Europe right now might be a little riskier than normal. Last night, Hezbollah tried to fire hundreds of these tubular complaints into Israel. in the process, Israel found out or knew ahead of time, preemptively struck and kept that from happening and took out a whole bunch of Hezbollah's equipment. But today, they managed to successfully launch about 150 of these munitions into northern Israel. The alarms went all the way across into the northern Golan Heights, and there were quite a few actually that got through and caused some significant damage, but not a lot of injuries. There was an event where an anti-tank guided missile was fired from inside Lebanon at an IDF patrol, and it harmed about 4 Israeli soldiers. Everything we are seeing points to a major on-the-ground offensive by the IDF into Lebanon within the next 48 hours, likely this weekend. Lloyd Austin, the Defense Secretary of the United States, has canceled his planned visit to Israel. They don't want to be seen there when this thing goes off because they don't want to look like they're involved. The United States will likely continue to help in terms of intelligence, especially with satellites and drones, helping Israel find threats so they can eliminate them. They'll probably help with that, but you're not going to see American F-35s dropping fireworks on positions inside Lebanon. That's not going to happen. So Israel will have to do that part themselves. However, on the Lebanon side, Hezbollah is not going to be alone because there were quite a few, like 150 Houthis, who were wounded in Operation Below the Belt. So there were 100 who were wounded in that operation because they had those devices on them inside Lebanon. So Hezbollah is getting augmented, their forces are getting augmented by fighters from Iraq, likely the Hashishabi, the Iranian-backed militias in Iraq and Syria, put out a statement that if Israel takes out 1,000 Hezbollah fighters, they will send 100,000 in to replace them. That's probably hyperbole, but you get the point. On top of that, the Lebanese ambassador to London today gave a speech in which he all but directly said that in the case of an Israeli incursion into southern Lebanon, the Lebanese army would join forces with Hezbollah to oppose them. It's known that about half of the Lebanese army soldiers are moonlighting with Hezbollah. So that's not a big surprise. But what is significant about him saying that and saying it officially from the ambassador in the UK, the United States gives the Lebanese army about $300 million a year in military aid. Like, are you kidding me? We fund both sides of everything. Thank you so much for being here and being a part of our very first ever live studio audience here on the Hot Zone. And for those of you back at home, be sure you like and subscribe to the podcast. Thank you very much for watching. God bless you.